Welcome back to my kitchen. Today we are cooking. I wanted to try this so-called copycat recipe for Cracker Barrel's meatloaf and also their cheesy hash brown potatoes. Now I started to do this in two separate videos, but because they both cook at the same temperature, I decided to do them together. Now, the meatloaf is going to take a little longer to cook than the cheesy hash brown potatoes. So I can just take those out when they're done and then let the meatloaf finish cooking. But another thing I wanted to do too is, for those of you who are really trying to learn how to cook, it's very important to be able to multitask when you're in the kitchen, okay? So I'm going to do these two recipes together in hopes that I kind of share some tips as to what I do so as to not feel overwhelmed. I know a lot of you may not cook because it's just too much and too much going on, and if you're not organized, you will be in the kitchen forever, okay? And don't nobody have time for that. So hopefully what I'm going to share will help. First of all, I have thoroughly washed my hands. That's where you need to start. Don't be in the kitchen with nasty hands, because it's just nasty, okay? So our hands have been thoroughly washed, and what I do is, once I get my recipes, okay, you get everything that you need, all of your ingredients. Once you get your ingredients, before you start doing anything, get everything measured out and set out in front of you. So let me share with you what we're going to use for the meatloaf, okay? I have, the recipe is calling for like a pound and a half of ground beef, and I have about 2 pounds, but it'll be okay. Now, if you need to unthaw your ground beef, if you're taking it right out of the freezer, you always, if you don't have time, I let this unthaw in the refrigerator for about a day, okay? So it was already unthawed via the refrigerator. That's the best way to do it. That's the safest way to do it. If by chance you've forgotten to take it out and you need to unthaw it in the sink, you always let it sit in cold water. You do not put meat in hot water to unthaw. I know you just feel like, okay, that'll make it unthaw quicker, but that's a no-no. Let it unthaw in cold water, okay? So we have our ground beef, and then we have here, now I'm doing a little extra, okay? So, but I'm going to give you what the recipe is saying. It's saying ½ cup of yellow onion. I have some yellow and I have a little bit of red onion because the red onion was in the refrigerator and I don't need the rest of the onion going bad, so we're going to use it today in this meatloaf. Okay, I know red onion is a little stronger than yellow, but it's okay. So we have some red and some yellow onion, about ½ cup. And then I have, the recipe is calling for about 1/4 cup of bell pepper, but I like bell pepper too, so I have at least about 3/4 cup bell pepper. And then we have 4 ounces of shredded cheese. I've got about 1 cup, okay? But I'm going to put the real amounts in the description, all right? And then we have 2 sleeves of, no, let me get back to that because I need to go in the order of the ingredients. Then we have 3 eggs, and these are large eggs. Then we have a 1/4 cup of whole milk. It's already been measured out. And then I'm going to use 2 sleeves of these Ritz crackers right here. And you'll see how I'm just going to crumble them up inside the bowl right using these packages. And then we're going to end with about 1 teaspoon of salt and pepper. Okay? Ooh, trying to reach my salt. Okay, so those are the ingredients for the meatloaf. And then we have a glaze where we're going to do about ½ cup of ketchup, and I don't have quite ½ cup of brown sugar in here. I didn't put quite that much. And then we need about 1 teaspoon of this Worcestershire sauce. I thought they needed about 1 teaspoon of Worcestershire. And then we're going to use about, it calls for a tablespoon of yellow mustard. But y'all, I'm going to use some Dijon mustard, okay? Because that's what I want to do. Alright, so that's everything that we need for the meatloaf. And before I use this, I'm going to stir it up and get it real creamy and smooth. Alright? So we're going to mix up the meatloaf first. But let me tell you really quickly the ingredients that we need for the cheesy hash browns, okay? We're going to start off with 32 ounces of, these are frozen hash brown potatoes, and you let them unthaw, okay? So these have been sitting out for a little bit, and then we need 1 stick of melted butter. You guys, I had my ingredients separated so I wouldn't get them confused. Have half a cup of melted butter. I guess I'm gonna have to nuke that for a couple more seconds so it can remelt. And then we need 1 10-ounce can. This is 10.5 ounce can of cream of chicken. You guys, make sure you thoroughly wash off your cans. Okay, they are nasty. They are extremely nasty. Make sure you use a washcloth, your dishcloth. Don't get your washcloth out the bathroom because that's nasty too. Get your dishcloth. Thoroughly clean off the top of your cans. And then we're going to use, it says 1 pint of sour cream. I'm using about 8 ounces of sour cream. We have half a cup of onions here. If I didn't say that already, onions. And then we have like 2 cups of Colby cheese. I like to buy the cheese that I have to actually hand grate, okay? It's creamier. They put something on the cheese that's already grated to preserve it, some type of starchy something, so I prefer to grate my own cheese. So this is probably a little more than 2 cups. I like it cheesy. And then we're going to do 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, okay? So that's the ingredients for the cheesy hash browns. So what we're going to do first, we're going to get the hamburger mixed up, and then we're going to set that aside, and then we're going to mix up the cheesy hash browns, and then we're going to be ready to put both of those in the oven to bake at the same time. Now what I love about this kind of recipe is that we can just dump everything in the bowl. So we already have our ground beef in here. We're adding our onions and bell peppers and cheese. We're going to add our 3 eggs. Let me break them up a little bit. Then we've already added our cheese. We're going to add our milk. And I almost forgot, we need to add about a teaspoon of sugar. Not sugar, girl. Salt. Teaspoon of salt and teaspoon of pepper. Now I've already smashed up 1 sleeve of these Ritz crackers while they're in the package, and I just wanted you to see how I do this. You have to be careful because you can make the end of it bust open. So gently just squeeze, and you can crumble them up right in the package. Okay? And even after you open it, you know, I still like to kind of crumble, you know, as they're coming out. Alright? I also remembered to take off my thumb rings. I usually wear those all the time. But if I'm going to be somewhat handling hamburger like this, I try to remember to take them off. Okay? So now we're just going to mix. I do not like to handle meat, or at least hamburger, a whole lot with my hands. So I like to use this potato masher to kind of really start getting things mixed up. I'm trying to kind of shape it a little bit while it's in the bowl, so hopefully I won't have to handle it too much when it comes out, or when I take it out. And I've also, this little tray here that this little rack that I'm cooking it on, I sprayed it with a little bit of this olive oil cooking spray. Okay? And you guys, when I do meatloaf, sometimes I like to do sometimes I like to do 2 small loaves too. I do that sometimes. And I'm going to wash my hands up and wash this bowl out so we can get the hash browns mixed up. But we're going to let this meatloaf sit right here on this pan while we mix up the hash browns real quick. Now when I'm cooking, I like to really think through the process of exactly what I'm doing. So once I start mixing up these hash browns, I don't want to break them all up and get them all mushy. So what I'm going to do is add my wet stuff first, and that way I can mix it up. And then I want to add my hash browns last, okay? So I'm going to go on and add my melted butter. This is our cream of chicken. Add my sour cream. Ounces. I'm going to add my cheeses and my onions, and you guys, I can already tell you're supposed to reserve about half of this cheese for the top, but I can already tell that's not going to be enough cheese for me. So I've taken out some of my sharp cheese, and we're going to grate a little bit more for the top, okay? So I'm going to be using Colby Jack and sharp cheese. We like cheese, and I tell you, that's not going to be enough. So I have my cheese sitting here. This is what we have left. So I'm just going to grate a little bit more while it's baking, because we're going to top it off. So I'll grate a little bit more to add to that for the top, okay? And see, I didn't want my hash browns in here yet. We're also going to add some black pepper. Okay. Okay, so now that that's all mixed up, just gonna add our hash browns. And then that way I don't have to manipulate them too much. I just kind of, you know, kind of fold it over. glazing spray and spray this casserole dish. Alright, you guys, and that didn't take, what, maybe 30 seconds to grate some more cheese, okay? That just wasn't going to be enough, y'all, at all. Alright, so we're mixing this sharp and Colby. And we're just going to top it off. Did a little bit of cheese. So you guys already know it's my modified version of the copycat version. Can't be skimping on cheese. And you guys, I meant to mention too that I keep the kitchen Clorox spray under my sink, and I always spray my sink out and clean my sink after, you know, like rinsing meat. Alright. Okay, so we're topping it with a little bit more pepper. And y'all know we need to have some, what's this, y'all? Parsley. Don't taste like nothing. Just a garnish. Just a little garnish. That's coming out too slow. Got all day trying to do a video. Okay. So now we're going to pop them both in the oven at the same time, y'all. That's what I'm talking about. Again, the oven is set to 350. And it's going the meatloaf. And because they will fit, let me make sure that door's gonna close. Okay. Because they will fit on the same rack, I'm putting them on the same rack. Okay. So I'm gonna set my timer for about 50 minutes, and then I'll check the Hashbrown Casserole. If it's ready to come out, I'll take it out, and the meatloaf will continue to cook. I'm getting ready to take the meatloaf out so I can put the sauce on the top, or what will be the meatloaf sauce, I guess. Actually, you can add this after it's cooked for about 30 minutes. It's been in about 45 minutes right now. So we're just going to mix this up really good. And then pop it back in the oven. I love meatloaf with this kind of sweet topping on it, or glaze, especially with the brown sugar. It's delicious. Meanwhile, back on the ranch, I think our potatoes are ready. What you think? Ooh, I think they are. So we're gonna let these cool. Let the meatloaf cook maybe about another 15 minutes. And then we'll take it out. Alright, the meatloaf cooked for about an hour and 10 minutes. So now they'll both continue to cool, and we're almost ready for dinner. This is the meatloaf, still sizzling, and then here is our cheesy hash browns. Casserole, I guess is what it is. You guys know we have to dig into this casserole. There's nothing like those crunchy ends. You guys, look how creamy that is. Ooh wee. Look at that, you guys. So creamy. Open your mouth. Ooh, that's gonna be some good eating right there. And then look y'all. See how you have that little, how it browns around the edge. Whoo wee. Yes, sir. All right, you guys. Well, here is this delicious looking meatloaf and the cheesy hash browns. Look at that, y'all.
Y'all should look at it. Look at it.
And I have fixed some cabbage to go with it, you guys. I do have a cabbage video that I will link here if you guys are interested in how I make my cabbage. And then we have some Sister Schubert. I see you, Sister Schubert rolls with butter. Somebody say dinner is served. So you guys, two very easy recipes. I think you would want to do them at the same time. Okay, so just get all of your ingredients together and get your meatloaf mixed up, then get your cheesy hash browns mixed up, and then just put them in the oven at the same time. Easy peasy. Too, what did you say about the cheesy? Now, ironically enough, she went to Cracker Barrel yesterday, and one of her friends ordered the cheesy hash browns. What did you say, too?
It looks better.
Mine look better. I bet it tastes better too, because that was not enough cheese. Better. It wasn't enough cheese, so I had to add.
Cheese was all dry.
I had to add more cheese.
But
it was dry. See, I added more cheese, so I guess mine is like
it's cheesier.
It just tastes better.
Yeah. Wait a minute, you have to get your, wait a minute, sir.
What I gonna get?
You have to get your cabbage and
Well,
stuff.
baby, over here.
He making space for it.
That's a pretty plate right here. Put some cabbage.
You just gonna like eat all that meatloaf like that?
Yeah, cause I'm real hungry now.
Anywho, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully this was helpful for those of you who really you're just learning how to cook. Okay, so all right, let me finish getting him squared away. If you've not subscribed, please subscribe. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Turn on the notification bell.
It does not
be notified whenever we upload. That's that. Shake something, shake something, shake something, shake something. Okay? We already look forward to you joining us. Oh, as it pertains to the meatloaf, now depending on how thick you make yours will determine how long it cooks. Okay? So after it cooks for about an hour, check it. If it's not done, let it cook a little bit longer. But it's going to depend on how thick you make your meatloaf. Like I said, a lot of times I like to do two little mini loaves. Didn't do that today, but sometimes that's what I like to do. Okay? All right. We already look forward to you joining us again next time. Bye.